morning. It is June 16th, 2020. We will call the Wright County Board meeting to order. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right. Thank you, those in attendance and those joining us remotely. And we have 4 commissioners here, and Commissioner Burrell is remote today. So we will start with the minutes from the 2nd of June. Anybody have any questions or corrections?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Delight, seconded by Commissioner Fetch. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oops, I'm sorry.
Roll call.
Yeah.
How quickly I forget. Roll call.
Aye.
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 All votes aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, the approval of the agenda. Anything that anyone would like to add?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to add in there for a conversation to be had probably around mid-July, maybe a little bit earlier, regarding, and probably a committee of the whole, department office space evaluation.
Okay.
Due to the COVID-19, so that we can maybe separate people a little bit more. I'd like to do it mid-July because that would give the department heads and Alan a chance to evaluate their needs on what makes sense. I mean, we got to do something with DMV. We need to get them more space because come winter, I don't think that window is going to work very well.
Okay.
So
So would you like just to tack that on to the coronavirus update, or to C under items for consideration?
see?
See afterwards.
All right.
Okay.
Is that acceptable to everyone?
All right, so we doing this on
So we will,
items for consideration C?
See.
yep.
All right, schedule meeting. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the
All right.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Delight, seconded by Commissioner Potter to approve the agenda with that one addition. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Somebody's got to echo. Somebody's got to.
Commissioner Burrell, did you say aye? We're getting feedback, so if
Somebody needs a mute.
you could mute your phones, please.
So did I. Okay.
Thank you.
It is the phone line is a little. Your end too.
Yeah. We're getting that thing going. All right. The consent agenda. Anything anyone would like to pull?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve this consent agenda as
I will
presented.
second it.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Vetch. To approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 All votes aye.
Thank you. All right.
Madam Chair, so we don't all get dizzy in this, can we take like a 5 minutes here and fix this? Because this is going to be, I just wanted to consider it.
Yes. Welcome back after our technology has been adjusted. So we will move on to our timed items, and we welcome Mr. Bill Stevens, our Environmental Health Officer.
Madam Chair.
Like,
Bill, use your outside voice, just so everybody can hear.
Mark knows me well, yes. Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I'm here to ask the board to adopt a resolution to allow us to apply for a Clean Water Partnership loan. This is for our low-interest loan septic program that we've been running actually for 9-10 years now. But we were receiving our funding through the Crow River Organization of Water. They were the organization that was actually acquiring the loan through the MPCA. Since they disbanded, we're now kind of left to do it ourselves. So we're applying for the loan We'd like to apply for the loan, I should say, and then work with Bob Evola and the auditors and Greg Kreiser and the attorneys to develop our general obligation note that we will have to come up with this time around here. So this resolution is just asking permission to apply for the loan if possible.
I'll move the resolution to approve the Clean Water Partnership loan application.
Second.
I'll second
Charlie.
that.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Blyden, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Is there any discussion on this?
Madam
I
Chair.
think it's a resolution though, Madam Chair.
It is a resolution. Yep, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
Bill, thank you for bringing this attention, because the changes in it, this is important for Wright County. We've got a lot of lakes, we like to keep them clean, and this is the way for people that have subsurface sewage issues, a way to get them in compliance, because it's been a challenge for Wright County and a lot of places for a long time. This is one of those programs I like supporting, because it helps all of us.
Yes. Madam Chair, Commissioner Potter, thank you. I will give total credit to the Crow River Organization of Waters for getting us into this program to start with here, but yeah, we do want to continue it locally ourselves.
Yeah, great. All right. If there's no more discussion, roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Burrell votes aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Bill. Okay. Next on our agenda, we have Mr. Mark Mattice, the Parks and Recreation Director.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. In front of you today to ask you to adopt a resolution related to a grant application to the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission for connecting people to the outdoors. This would be for equipment purchases when we get Bertram online. There's no matching funds. We're writing this with a no match. So we'd be buying cross-country skis, snowshoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, stuff like that to help with the rental program, programming, things like that, starting next summer.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution related to the grant application.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Blyden. Is there any discussion on this?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Commissioner, yeah, Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mark, I'm glad this is one that the grant application, it doesn't have a match to it, because that's kind of a hidden thing, and I take heat from a couple people on this. We apply for these grants, and there's a matching that you get, then you're obligated to it, and those are stressors on the budget. So it's kind of nice to have one once in a while that we don't have a matching grant attached to it, because we need to, every time we apply, we need to make sure we're cognizant of, if we get a matching grant, say for it's $100,000, $1 million or something, we are obligated to take it if we're going to take that grant. And it's a,
Yep.
That's our goal. We'll
Yep.
see if they like it.
Appreciate that.
Like I say.
thank you.
All right, no more discussion. Resolution, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Burrell votes aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mark.
Keep up the good work, and your parks are so busy, and you've got camping going, so.
Yep,
good
we're pretty much
deal.
100% open.
Yeah, great.
And Madam Chair, I want to thank Mr. Mattice for coming out on our nice Ditch 33 work group tour.
Oh.
Yeah, we trekked probably through about a mile of ditch there almost.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not quite that much, but a lot. It was good. Very boots on the ground.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Mr. Bob Evola, Auditor Treasurer with some items.
Morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Normally I'd just tell you, here's the May budget report. You know, we're progressing along, but I do want to draw out some attention to some of these line items. So if you have your budget reports, you're going to see under the Auditor's Office, our overtime is up. This is all due to the ERP, a lot of participation by our department and other departments on this. So our overtime is up. Same with IT, their overtime is over budget. The other line item I wanted to draw your attention to is, the good news is the Recorder's Office, even in this time that we are at, their fees are above average. We haven't slowed down in the services that Tanya can provide to the public, so she's still open for business and the revenues are respective of that. Today, in the consent agenda, you approved kind of like a pre-funding of CIP projects. So this is for Mark's department. So what we're doing is, in your packet, there was a transfer from the general fund to the parks fund that next year when you approve the CIP, we'll repay that transfer. But right now you approved a transfer from 100 to 521 in advance of next year's CIP. So next year the CIP will bring that money back. So when I show you the budget report for next month, I'll point that out to you what it was. Loss is on par with the previous year. And I think everything else looked good. So if you have any questions, I also asked Ryan to be down here, so.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Glenn?
you said the loss funds are about the same?
Local option sales tax.
Yeah, so the revenue is right on par budget, so it's not like we're not seeing decrease.
Oh,
So
great.
that's
You know, thank you for answering that question, because someone mentioned that at a meeting last week, and it's like, oh, I better check on that, what ours is at, and I was wondering, because certainly some businesses have been really, really busy this spring during everything, so I had a feeling it would probably be pretty close, but
Make up for the ones that weren't open.
unfortunately, yeah.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Potter?
I think liquor store sales were way up.
True.
I heard over in Delno especially.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, more parties.
I'll make a, is that it?
That's it,
Anything?
I'll make a motion to approve the May revenue expense.
I'll second that.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Glyden, second by Commissioner Batch. Any discussion or
Madam Chair,
questions?
I was just gonna, looking through the report, it's kind of shocked me to see that the variety of departments of the revenue is actually either consistent with years prior or even up in a lot of them. Which surprises me with this whole COVID pandemic. You would expect us to have a lot of lost revenue, but that generally isn't the case. Even in the jail, there's a lot of revenue is up, which is, not from the boarding side of it,
Right.
but from the internal operations of the jail is revenue's up. So interesting.
Well, Madam Chair, Commissioners, again, that's just indicative of the fact that we're still open for business. It's just a new way of doing business. So we're still meeting the needs of the citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I guess, the hats off again to the IT to help, that kind of helped get everybody so that we could continue to do business as usual.
Sure, yep.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the real IT people that are the boots on the ground that did the actual work, not up above, but.
Okay, so if there's no more discussion, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 All votes aye.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, the second item on the agenda is a new Quick Trip in Albertville.
Yep.
So they're applying for a new tobacco license.
All
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Glyden. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 All votes aye.
Thank you.
Madam
Great.
Chair, the next two items are ditch related. So again, I'm going to have the boots on the ground. Mark, come up and talk about these. So we have boots on the ground, we have the administration of it. So I'll let the boots on the ground talk to you about the ditch items.
My, those
Okay.
some fancy boots you got there.
If you need them polished, I understand that there's a Navy guy that's good at it.
Is it spit shines? Oh, you have no idea. I heard the Air Force better at
And
it.
he offered to do mine, so.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
I've noticed that about him. Items 3 and 4 are a request to schedule a ditch committee meeting with Commissioners Burrell and Dahlin to talk about redetermination of benefits for County Ditch 19 and County Ditch 16, and then also to discuss developing new procedures for future public hearings on county ditches. We're suggesting a date of June 23rd. That's a Tuesday, following the board meeting at 11 o'clock.
Next Tuesday?
Madam Chair.
Yeah, it seems like that would be.
Is he hearing that?
Yeah, Greg, you were available here. You hear this, right?
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything? So we're scheduling a ditch. Mister, you can't hear Matthijs here. I gotta get a.
Want me to walk up and speak into you?
Yeah. So we're scheduling the ditch committee with Commissioner Dahlin and Commissioner Burrell for County Ditch 19 and 16 to discuss the redetermination of benefits
June 23rd,
June 23rd
11 o'clock is the requested date.
at 11 o'clock.
That's the requested.
That'll work for me.
It'll work for Greg.
10:30 or 11?
11.
11, or if you want to put it as following the board meeting, I don't.
Stick it as 11.
11, Charlie.
Well, otherwise I say we can make it 10:30 and
10:30 is fine.
if the board meeting goes a little long, it will be 11, so.
Now, Madam Chair, if I may, I just want to get a little clarity. Are we discussing about the valuations of the wetland properties and how that correlates to H2 overviewers is what you guys will be discussing?
We have that memo that Matt has.
And I can speak to that if I could, Madam Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
And actually, Attorney Kreiser's on the line too, I think. But besides that, Commissioner Vetch, the wetlands, some of the things with no benefit at all. What we found though is a bigger issue is the people that are landowners on the lake, not just landowners, but cabin owners and houses on the lake that are really pushing for the redetermination of benefits. We need to look at the formula and that we're doing right now to repair the ditch. Some of those people, the cabins would pay like 16 cents, 32 cents, whereas farmers are paying, hundreds of dollars that are 30 feet high. And it's the people that are living on the lake that would be flooding if the ditch does not get cleaned out. So it's just something that we have to look at for an equity basis.
And I'm going to speak loud here just so you guys can catch it on the phone. So Commissioner Burrell, my question is if you're going to meet with just 2 commissioners, you're going to bring a recommendation back on that. I'm just curious are you having Brian at that meeting from H2 Overviewers to discuss the formula?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Vetch, I think we're planning on a committee of the whole, a ditch committee of the whole, are we not?
No, they have it just as just you and Commissioner Dahlheiden.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetch, since I'm on your phone, the recommendation from staff at this point is let's just do a regular ditch committee. I don't think we need to have the committee of the whole yet. I think we can make some recommendations that are pretty good going forward here and bring it back to the board.
Yep, that's fine with
Okay,
me.
I'm okay with that too.
Okay,
Matt has developed a lot of good information to bring to the committee.
Okay,
That's going to help
good.
explain the process, the formulas, how that all works.
I just want to make sure that we're not monkeying too much with it because there's a fine line that we walk with that.
I
So
agree with you very much. After doing some of that information, there's a very fine line. And Matt has been researching other counties on what they've done, so he has a lot of good information to bring forth.
all right.
Madam Chair,
yes, Commissioner Deline.
are we going to do both of them at the same time?
They're same lake.
No, I'm talking about committee, the next
The next
item.
one?
Yeah, yeah,
So we're going to discuss that at the same time?
correct.
Oh, you are, okay.
So Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to set a ditch committee of the whole on June 23rd at
Wrong.
Ditch committee.
or ditch committee. I'm sorry, not ditch committee. Schedule a ditch committee with Commissioner Dahlheiden and Commissioner Burrell on June 23rd at 11 a.m.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Remind me, where's 19 and 16 at again?
French Lake.
French Lake? Okay.
French Lake.
All right.
It's
Thank
the
you.
2 systems that operate like one system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no more discussion, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Sorry.
Roll votes aye too.
Okay. And that is, that covers items 3 and 4.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Captain Hoffman. We're actually not too far behind for all the stuff all the delays.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we're at the point now where True North Consulting, our consulting firm that's working with us on the backup dispatch center, is ready to give a presentation. At first I thought that the 911 committee probably would be the most appropriate committee to start with, unless the board wishes a committee of the whole on this. Most of the funding for this project is going to come out of the 911 funds. However, there's probably going to be about in the area of 100,000 that's going to need to be taken from some other fund. So if you'd like to start at the 911 committee, that would be fine with me, or if you want a committee hold, that would be likewise. We are looking at a date of July 21st, 22nd, or 23rd, if that would work for this presentation.
I would like to have this actually be a committee of the whole. I think then all the board members can give input and get the information at the same time. So unless someone has an objection to that.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since this will have budget implications, since we need to put some money in to enhance this thing, I would like to make it a committee of the whole, just so we're all up to speed on what's going on, and then that's easier to communicate with the public on things we're doing for that next gen 911 and all those other things that people keep asking questions about.
So you said 21st, 22nd, or 23rd?
Of June or
One of
July?
those 3 days would work with the board. That would work with our consultant.
Okay.
That would come up.
Well, we don't have country fairs, or not country fair, county fair, starting on the 22nd. So that should free up 22nd and 23rd. Could be potentially committee day on the morning of the 22nd, unless we just set this as a committee of the whole on that Wednesday morning at 9 or 10.
10? I don't know where True North has to
And
come
we may have IT later, so that would be at.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate this would be more than an hour meeting.
You want to
Do
go
Captain?
10 a.m.?
About an hour should do.
Yeah.
Want to go 10 a.m.?
Yep.
All right.
What date was that again?
22nd.
Charlie, did you hear that?
I heard the 22nd, I didn't catch the time.
5 a.m.
Okay, I'll be there.
Mark.
What time was it?
10.
10 a.m.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to set a committee of the whole for July 22nd at 10 a.m. to discuss 911 issues and updates.
All
I'll
right.
second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Fetch. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Well, both sides.
All right, thank you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Okay. Items for consideration. Committee of the whole, Commissioner Potter.
I thought Commissioner Bill was first. Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee of the whole met June 2nd, and discussions were public health notifications, information, and issues with the training center, furniture quotes from training center. First off, with the public health notification, Sarah Grosshush updated us on different items go there. There was some discussion with what MDH will allow us to say and not allow us to say. I know that's got a kind of a rub with some of us that when you're hearing information from somebody else and not through our public health, it kind of puts us in a bad light, in my opinion. But I know that they have to follow the protocols there. And Sarah assured us that she was going through the research practices that we can allow, because we need to get at least some basic information out there so people know we're doing something. Because some people just say, well, what are you sitting on your hands for? We don't want to have that attitude out there. And I know that you've been working with Brian Asselson and that to try to what we can and what we can't do to try to get information out there, because we want to put timely information out so people know. Because the last thing we want people with no information means panic mode. We don't want people now. We want them to be educated and informed of what's going on and how to handle this. And she gave us an update on the cases needed hospitalization, lab confirmed deaths, and everything else, which was it's good information. It's like I say, it's not anything like the large county Hennepin has got like that, but still it's got to be mindful of what's going on here. And Public Health Director Sarah said that, general transmission occurs within families, bringing down the median average age, which was like 44 point whatever was in ours. And that was surprising, that number for that age. But if you got the family unit there and you got kids, that's going to bring that number down quite a bit. And then there was talk of each county has their own how they deal with that, and some cities have more than one zip code, so it would be tough, near impossible for us to do a zip code based, because we do have some zip codes that cross multiple counties. And that's just how would you get that data extrapolated out? And I think it'd be just, you'd have a full FTE person just doing that, and that's not what we want to spend the time on. And then we inducted the ethnicity and the likely exposure values and that, and it's, they're relevant, not relevant, whatever. Some people like that information, some don't. It's out there for people if they want to see it. And we'd like to see what the new daily cases and curves show, whether the number's declining or ascending, and we're working on that to see if we can get that information out. And of course, it's subject to approvals of everybody else, higher authorities. So the recommendation that came out of this was Public Health Director Grosshuch will supply an updated surveillance report to the Commissioner by the 4th, which you have, supplies information updates, which is kind of nice. I like it. It's kind of a snapshot. You can kind of see our trends, and if you read them over week over week over week, you can see the trends. It's really not that hard to follow it. You know, if I could follow it, just about anybody else can follow it, because it's not really, it's good information, basic information, and it's plenty enough for what we need to get out there. The next item that we talked about is the training center, and it was about the furniture quote. Because the furniture came in, we have a line item, budgeted line item for that, and being that there was some cost overruns on the tax center, or the training center, because of some of the specialized equipment and the time we set the bond versus when we actually set out the bids, there was a lag of about 1.5 years in some of those quotes. So we have about a $288,000 shortfall that we need to deal with. Some of it will be dealt with investment income with that, and other one will have to do a transfer from general fund in there for the here and now, and then at the tail end of it, reimburse the general fund for that one. Well, we did decide to go over the offices. We will do the EOC and the FBI office with their furniture, and the third office, which is for the Sheriff's Department, that we'll leave that empty for now, and they can find out other furniture in there. We'll deal with that later. That'll bring down that price, and I think they priced the furniture came in with $42,000 was the bid.
59 with what we approved.
59 with what we approved, okay? Because and the thing boils down to is with the EOC, you know, that furniture, some of that's reimbursable, or all of it. So there's a lot of moving targets in here, and it's kind of tough. But we need to finish this thing off the correct way. Like I say, FBI did put $2.2 million in, and they're going to expect to see something for their money besides just the shooting range there. So, and then went on to regarding government center project with expansion of third floor IT future build-outs. You know, with that, we're in line with the government center, doing real well. The bids have been coming in good. It's on schedule. Anybody who's got to look at that, it's coming along quite well. Mid-July is when the tip-up panels will be showing up there. And we've been in. Captain Hoffman's been working with Alan Wilczek on to make sure that the expenses are in line there, and they're crossing the T's, dotting the I's a lot, and double checking all these numbers here. There is a estimate summary and chart of expenses in there in your packet, and it would be available online also. And so when and the discussion, the other thing is the discussion continued buy down of debt service, how that would affect funds being utilized and how they affect tax rate and levy. And we've been on that a few different times, and it's time for a fresh update on that again for us, just to make sure that we're being mindful in budget cycle, what we're looking at the future, because you know, like I say, we have this jail bond debt here that we're gonna call this year.
We are.
Just get this thing done. I mean, this has been bothering me from day one, and we're paying on a dead horse. It's time to get that dead horse paid off, and other items that are coming up when they're callable, and how much money does it take, and what we need to be disciplined to make sure that when they're callable, we can call them, lower our debt, which isn't, our debt is well within reason for what they said our bonding capacity is, which is just blew my mind away that we could have, what, $450 million in bond debt and still be solvent. That was just wow. Because I don't think there's anybody on this board that would even consider going anywhere near that neighborhood. But it's nice to know that we're still worried about the debt, of buying it down as we're looking forward with Wright County and the growth that's going on here. I think we're set up real well in the future. So the recommendation coming out of this, authorize the Sheriff's Department to move forward the purchase of the furniture and the training center in the amount not to exceed $60,000. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole minutes and the recommendations.
I will second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Is there any discussion? Charlie, do you have any questions or any comments about the minutes?
No, I did not. Thank you very much.
All right. With that, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Roll votes aye.
All right, thank you. And our workshop, Commissioner Vetch.
So last week on Tuesday, we met as a board for a workshop with a variety of other individuals present. If you're interested, you can read the minutes for that. It was quite the robust workshop with over 3 hours of good discussion. We started off with some housekeeping items. We scheduled a committee of the whole for the discussion of the Economic Development Authority on this Friday, June 19th at 10:30. We also scheduled a committee of the whole to discuss child protection tomorrow, June 17th at 10 a.m. After commencing with the housekeeping items, we moved on to discussion of our construction projects. First one being another update on the Tactical Center, which was just discussed earlier at a meeting the week prior, but a lot of it was to get everyone up to date on where we're at. Most of that stuff was a reiteration of the discussion that was happened at the committee the whole week prior. We were on schedule to be moving in and having some sort of a tour somewhere around mid-July. Moving on, we discussed where we are at with the Justice Center. Things are moving along well, not too many delays. We're expected to have a occupancy somewhere close to around August 30th. All the expenditures are coming in good at this time. We're expecting to have the general conditions line item to have more than $1 million remaining unspent. So the project is coming in on time and under budget, so is what we like to see. The Government Center is also moving along quite timely, considering all the potential delays that we could have had. We're still looking at a completion date of September 1 of 2021, potentially. We had some more discussion regarding the dental center in the basement and where things are at with that. As we speak right now, there is numerous discussions at the legislature on the bonding request, and this is a politically hot topic, so it's quite contentious. We'll have more clarity on that issue probably within the next 14 to 30 days, and at which time we'll have to probably meet as a group to decide how we would like to move forward, just so everybody kind of has that on the back of their minds. The recommendations for that piece is to refer additional service agreements with BKV. Actually, I should actually recap that. Is we actually had to discussion with BKV about the drawings and the setup of the parking lot and the parking garage piece, as that was kind of a change order from the original plan that we made an agreement to approve that with BKV. So the recommendation was to additional services agreement with BKV Group with the county board to consent agenda item for $67,850 for the parking structure, and then to refer
regarding that, parking structure, because it really isn't a garage, because it's open, it's not heated, it's just more automobile storage. I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
Yeah, air can flow through it, so it's I guess we should call it like a parking structure. I think.
Parking
structure. Refer a resolution to designate the ability to recoup costs using grant funds for the dental center at the new government center. And then also to refer costs of the window shades in the amount of $89,900 for the east and west windows of the Justice Center. That was another piece that was discussed. We will need some window treatments because the sun in the jury assembly rooms is quite blinding. Then also after that, we had a discussion over a memo of understanding regarding standby and on-call pay for deputies. A lot of this was in light of things that have been happening in society at this time, and we realized that we could have potential times that we need to have deputies ready and willing to work at short notice. The recommendation was to refer an updated memo of understanding with the Wright County Deputies Association that more clearly defines the term standby and on-call to the June 16th Wright County Board meeting consent agenda. Then we moved into the longer discussion of the preliminary budget discussion, and we did a budget forecasting workshop where we laid out some of the potential expenses for this coming year and potential revenue pieces. I do want to note that the minutes where it says there, we wanted to be very conservative this year with 2 to 4% levy increases. We wanted to go 2 to 4% capacity growth projections. We weren't really tying ourselves to a 2 to 4% levy increase. We really wanted to project it on a capacity of 2 to 4% and seeing what that would do to a levy and what that would then entail to a tax rate. So the discussions kind of talked a little bit about the capital improvement plan, debt service, and our bond schedules. More information that's going to be coming. They're going to be creating some more documents for us, kind of showing the schedules of all of those pieces. Definitely, this is kind of a moving forward discussion. We had some discussion about our reserve limits and what our potential turn back dollars from where this previous year was. And a lot of that stuff preliminarily paints the picture to be in fairly good health at this time. So given this pandemic, that we should hopefully be able to minimize impact to taxpayers, hopefully at no impact is a goal we discussed. There's informational only. And then lastly, we discussed the resolution of non-discrimination, and it was at the direction of the board that the board chair, Commissioner Hewsome, and the administrator, Lee Kelly, prepare a statement of non-discrimination for the release to the public, which you did a very nice job. Thank you very much for doing that. Then we also just had a quick discussion on any kind of COVID updates, and everything at this time was more of a reiteration of the previous committee of the whole a few days earlier. With that, Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations from the June 9th workshop.
Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Is there any discussion or any corrections?
Charlie, were you able to hear everything?
Yep, heard real good.
Okay. Good outdoor voice.
All right. Hearing nothing else, roll call vote.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We're all both aye.
All right. Thank you.
A lot of information to go through there. I tried to go through it relatively swiftly for you.
It was, good minutes because we had a lot of discussion to summarize all that was good job. Okay. That brings us to the coronavirus COVID update. Anything, Administrator Kelly?
Nothing largely regarding operations, other than I will give a reminder that we are doing appointments for the DMV. We're now transitioning to a 15-minute appointment for the upcoming weeks, so we'll be able to get more folks in. We still have the drop boxes available for tabs and other items, so trying to meet those needs as best as possible. I believe that's gone pretty well. The other thing related to coronavirus for my seat is we're watching the developments at the state legislature regarding the CARES Act, which is the funding to the local jurisdictions regarding reimbursement for expenses with COVID. That bill stalled out a little bit in the last day or so, so we're hoping that to move forward. Trying to also get some additional guidance on the logistics of that as far as tracking and getting that done. So,
And where it can be used?
Yes, we got a great starting of a list of what are eligible expenses and non-eligible expenses. So it's a pretty good list.
That CARES Act, that's federal funding, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's all been approved. It's just a matter of the Minnesota legislators trying to figure out how it gets distributed.
You are correct,
in Minnesota,
yes.
correct? So
correct.
It's going to happen. It's just
correct.
When
and how.
Correct.
And how.
So it has been stated that it should be distributed by June 30th. So that'll be moving forward. There's $841 million available for the state of Minnesota. Wright County is slated to receive $16.5 million of that for potential eligible expenses. So we'll be having to work on putting that together with the various departments. So more to come. Hope to see that move through.
Thank you. Anything else on?
Do you have any
Okay.
on that, Sarah?
All right, so we'll move on to item C, and that would be department space needs evaluation.
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. With having a lot of open space, once a lot of departments move out to the Justice Center and the courts and stuff, with the COVID-19, trying to keep people distancing.
Bring more people back.
People from Health and Human Services, if they need to get additional spacing. I'd like to have something in the mid-July, so that the department heads and Alan can get a chance to review and evaluate the needs. You know, we need to figure out something to do with DMV, and you know, some of the other places. So just trying to figure out a discussion, a committee of the whole so that we don't wait till the last minute. So that once everybody's out of here, we can.
Do you want to have it a little bit earlier than that, like 8th of July, or I mean 7th, or? I think so. It's not. Is that too early?
I'd like to give people enough chance to figure it out.
Okay.
And you know, Alan's so busy right now, and he's going to have to be a critical part of the conversation.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
I'd like to remind fellow commissioners that there was a lot of flexibility built into that space in all the departments, a lot more than normal. And it would be really kind of us to kind of wait until Alan Wilczek can wrap up the training center and the justice center, because this is not critical to have this discussion right today.
Yep.
I'd like to get a little bit off his plate before we add more to it. And I think it'd be good for not only him, but for us too. And just let the departments know, keep them know, hey, on this, do you have any ideas? What do you see in your space here? And have a future discussion. Maybe it's in August. I would say, you know, no, don't wait till December, but just give enough time to get some of these things done.
And that's why I was thinking the middle of July.
Yeah, that would give us
my issue is, once we get into August, then we got budgets to deal with.
We got
and that's going to.
Well, this discussion here isn't going to.
You know, then they have about 6 weeks to really, you know, think about this, because all the people that are moving to the Justice Center will be out at the end of August. So it's nice not to wait too late either, so you can have those.
And Madam Chair, one of the discussions with the Justice Center is we're getting down to the wire where it's starting to be punch list items. I'd like to have Alan have a chance to get that formed and have that underway, where you got a methodology, how you're doing these punch list items so it fits in his schedule. So we're not trying to tear him away from finishing a project, because anytime you don't finish one before you start another one, that's when the wheels fall off the wagon, and we don't want to have that. We need to finish this project up. We need to have this discussion on the furniture and the spacing. I'm confident that there's plenty enough space in all those departments, because we built in a lot of flexibility in the first place. But it's nice to have a discussion, but I would like to finish up a couple of these other things.
Madam Chair, so I think this is, because this is going to be one of probably 2 or 3 meetings. And the first meeting is to discuss methodology, which really isn't going to put any more work on Alan. It's to decide whether there's appetite to utilize some space in the building or not, and what that would look like. And I think that meeting should take place at the end of July, because then that would basically direct, if there is no appetite, then there is no future meeting, and there's no more work for Alan to figure out what would need to take place to facilitate that. So I think we should have that first meeting earlier than later, because if we are going to move some people around in the short term, we want to do it sooner than later so we get the most value out of that move. So I would say meeting once in July, and then probably meeting again somewhere in early September to figure out what are actual costs to do what we want to do.
Yeah, I'm afraid to wait that long.
We can even go early. I mean, mid-July. I think the first meeting should be in July.
How about if we do this? We can instruct Administrator Kelly to get some information out to those department heads to see if there's an appetite, if there's any interest, find out who's interested. And then he can have a conversation with Alan to figure out what would be a good time for Alan, you know, with what's going on with all the other things. And that way Alan can make that decision on, and I don't think it has to be any sooner than the middle of July.
Okay.
And again, you know, Commissioner Batch is probably correct that it'll be a number of different meetings, but I don't want to wait and make decisions in September. I want to be able to move things forward.
So they could move in September if they're
So that we
moving.
can get, so that we can utilize the extra space. And again, to be able to get people separated, to maintain the COVID-19 issues, and so we can kind of get things as close as normal as possible.
Is everybody, I guess, because I don't necessarily know, does anybody understand what departments we're talking about potentially moving? That's the reason I wanted to have, maybe having a preliminary discussion at some level here to talk about what departments we're reaching out to and what we're considering, and that's where I think that first discussion needs to take place as a group first before we can even ask Administrator
And then
Kelly.
maybe that should happen sooner, even at the.
Well, what we're talking about is auditor's office for DMV, and possibly planning and zoning, possibly health and human services, which is why I'm thinking having the administrator contact those departments to kind of give them an idea, and then get some feedback, and then we can move forward. Like I said, we don't have to set the meeting today. We can set the meeting next week or the week after, or never next meeting, first meeting in July, but at least get some preliminary
Madam Chair.
thoughts out there.
Mr. Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do appreciate you reaching out with Administrator Kelly and Alan to make it fit his schedule a little bit, because I don't like to dump on people that are busier. I'll get up right now, and he'll be okay. I can fit there. This is a good time, because then you have time to reach out to that. But I would implore the fellow commissioners to go look at those blueprints again, what we approved for the admin center. You'll find out that, especially on the second floor, there is so much flexibility in that space.
We're not talking about there. We're talking about this building.
Here.
We're talking about the 12 months short, the 12 months in between the two buildings.
No, I'm not talking about that
I think
building.
you're going to be limited what you can do here.
Well, I know, but we still need to look at some options. Again, DMV, nobody's going to use the windows come wintertime. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we just need to look at, we're going to have a lot of extra space. We need to figure out a way to utilize that. And again,
With, minimal cost, we're talking, basically you can pick up your computer, your desk, and move it.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd be totally against it if we're going to spend
me too.
tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on anything temporary.
No.
I mean, this has got to be something real simple.
Right.
And I think we've done this exercise one time before, but we'll do it again just to make sure we didn't miss nothing last time. I think there are limitations of what we can do with this building and moving somebody around. The only one that floats that makes any sense is maybe move planning and zoning up where court admin is. To move the DMV up there might be a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, I agree.
But we have to do whatever, it's the cheapest way to do it, because it's not that long a time frame to deal with this.
Right.
And I don't want to bog down
I don't
IT
either.
and everybody else with configuring something for that
It would be
little
something
time.
that, just is a temporary fix, essentially, utilize the space that we've got without going, hog wild about it, and just do something that does make sense.
And I agree. I don't want to spend any.
I don't want to spend.
I don't want to spend hardly any money at all on it. We know that it'll be the end of, end of August of 2021 before we move out to the new building.
I think it'll be more like October, so.
October. So, I want to utilize what we have here, and the administrator can get in contact with some of the department heads, and talk to Alan, come up with a plan, and they can tell us what works. And if Alan says, I don't want to deal with it until September, then we don't deal with it until September.
But at least I want to have those discussions first to find out which departments make the most sense, because
what's feasible and
which one you could relocate with the least amount of expense.
Exactly.
And some of those discussions have already taken place. I don't know if you wanted to add elections, Bob. I see your hands up.
Madam Chair, we are working with Lee already. We have a time crunch with the absentee voting coming up we've lobbied for the ability to take the law library space. Knowing whether we can do that helps us plan tremendously.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that that just makes sense. You know, it's an easy move across the hallway kind of thing.
And there you are talking about just moving PCs.
Right, exactly. So those that's in my mind when we're talking about moving people. It's the simple things that make sense, that you're not, no walls, no construction, no nothing. You just, you know.
And Madam Chair, that's where I'm hoping we can have that committee of the whole sooner than later, so we can at least, people can make plans based on that.
Right.
You know, we don't actually have to do any of the physical work or costing, the small costing that Alan would need to do maybe down the road, but at least people can start making mental plans.
I guess,
Yeah,
Madam
we can plan and not have to wait for windows for 4 weeks to a month.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess, Madam Chair, I'd pitch as the 14th workshop palatable for the time frame. We could bring that back as a summary, if you will, to the board on that, and I'll reach out to departments. And as was mentioned, I've had discussions with several of them already.
Perfect.
Yeah, that gives them, you know, close to a month to get things planned. And
Madam Chair?
yes, Commissioner Dryden.
Bob, are you guys going to be utilizing room 120 also for elections?
Madam Chair, Commissioner DeLand, we do intend to use 120 for the in-person voting, where the person could come the 7 days prior to the election, actually take their ballot and put it into the tabulator itself. We felt that'll be too confusing, too cramped upstairs.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's why I was wondering, since we're probably not going to really utilize 120 anymore, but maybe. I was just thinking if for the absentee ballots, if you could use 120 for those people coming in instead of having them up to the second floor too.
And again, I think that's our intention, but only for those last 7 days.
Only the last 7?
Right. Up until then, they're going to have to vote by envelope, and it's going to have to be up at their counters.
So staff, I mean.
There's a handling sequence.
Okay.
So is there a motion then to set that, or do we not need
Just
one?
another
We have a
workshop.
workshop that day.
At some point, we'll have to refer it, so
Okay, yep. So
just add that to the list of items, and we'll refer it as a future consent item then. We'll start working on it now.
sounds good.
That sounds good for everyone?
Yep,
Yeah, thank
it
you.
does, thank you.
Charlie, did you have any issues with that?
No, I'm fine with it.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on to advisory committee, advisory board updates. Whoever wants to start, Ken?
Yeah, Madam Chair, like I say, 7W committee got postponed until probably August. That was for last Friday. So it's nothing really new to report. We're still waiting on some updates there. Like I say, the legislature, which is kind of, it's concerning that both sides are digging in their heels right now on different things. Because as you know, we have 3 bonding requests in at the state, and I would like to see them get a bonding bill done. But if they're going to hold it up, if the governor doesn't do this, we won't do that. I mean, those are saber rattling, which I'd be kind of disconcerting. That hopefully they get something done. There's no way they're going to get everything done by Friday. I get the notifications for all the committees, what they're going on, and they're still stuck in the police issues. Has been taken up all the time. They do have one child care provision that was in there was good, which is long overdue. They should be able to button that one up pretty quick. And then like you can see last night, the Board of Equalization, say it went fairly well. To me, people have concerns on values and this and that, and sometimes with this COVID thing, it's been hard to get out there and look at these. I do want to applaud the assessor's office for the people that go out. I mean, they're not trying to stick it to the people. They're trying to be fair and reasonable what's going on out there. I mean, some people don't see it that way, but like I say, in some cases when you have speculators on land, you know, be careful what you wish for, you may get it. So let's see. That one, like I said, went fairly well to me. I mean, this week also we have the I-94 Coalition. We're going to do an update with what the build grant and everything else. We applied again federally, you know, because they're supposed to have another solicitation, but like say out in DC, just like the state here, they can't find themselves getting anything done, just pointing fingers at each other, which is sad. But and then other than that, Madam Chair, it's been kind of a little slow. Everything's been on Zoom or postponed.
Thank you. Mr. Batch.
So, back on June 5th, myself and Commissioner Dahleiden got to tour the construction projects out at Bertram Chain of Lakes and got to see the paving work that's taking shape out there. So things are moving along very nice. The camper cabins
all shelled up?
Yeah, all shelled up, and I tell you, the view and placement of them is even better than I envisioned, so that was pretty neat. I encourage you all eventually to take a look when it's all done. The city of Monticello, since that meeting, changed their direction, and they are going to pave their approach in their entrance. So that was a good deal.
Yeah.
So that was all we have on that, and then
How much were they planning on? Is the entrance, or
they're not doing the whole lot. They're just doing the entrance all the way to the back. So
okay. So it'll cut down on the.
It'll cut down on the dust. I mean, I guess we didn't pave our lots either, so.
No, but that's good.
It's good, so it'll at least stop so much of that rock getting dragged out onto Briarwood too, so all that gravel. And also this week, myself, Matt Detchen, and a number of residents and Mr. Mattice toured Ditch 33. We got to look at the large amounts of collapsed tile, and we discussed possible repair options and possible long-term solutions. It was a very good show and tell field trip, so. And that's all I have.
Okay, I've had a lot of meetings, but Central Minnesota EMS met, and they have issued 200 doses of naloxone since February. There is someone, Sam from Minnesota Department of Health also joined us, and there's a treatment and linkage, I think it's called, Act Care for a grant. Oh, I can't read my writing, that's the problem. Anyway, it's a grant that's used for some treatment of people who have overdosed but don't have fatal overdoses, and so Central Minnesota EMS is getting some money for that. And they're also those, I talked about, there's not really a good name for these, but they're super soakers, so to disinfect ambulances and things, they can just go and spray those. And they're on back order. They've been in such high demand, so they should be in July, and then all either 20 or 21 ambulance services in our region will get one of those. So that'll be kind of a cool thing. There's a new website, and also, sadly, there's been a spike in overdoses the last month or so. So, anyway, there's kind of a lot going on, but their seatbelt dollars are down since all the COVID stuff. It seems like, fewer people have been driving, and so there haven't been as many people that have been violating that. Our mentorship, education, and drug awareness meetup also met, and we got a federal grant. It was for $125,000 per year for 5 years to hire a project coordinator for substance abuse. And so we've kind of gotten a little more robust and gotten more community members and things involved with this. And also approved a grant and had another one that we're waiting to get more information about for that. Yes.
Regarding that grant about hiring somebody, aren't we kind of duplicating what Health and Human Services are doing? I mean, Public Health got a grant to do educational and that sort of stuff. It just seems like it's kind of duplicating or I hope we're not duplicating, I'm hoping that they're gonna work with those other groups so that
Yeah,
we can accomplish something instead of just
right.
duplicating
So
stuff.
then that would be less for our county to have to provide essentially. So,
Well, to me, that's strictly for the county, right?
it's, right, yeah, Wright County.
Right, county only.
So we're the sponsoring agency for
Yep.
this grant.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Yep.
So, I mean, and having public health be more involved with this has really, really helped breathe a lot of life into our organization and to be able to get more.
I didn't realize public health was involved.
Yeah.
Yep. So when we discussed and got approval for that position, it was a combination of the funding that we did receive from NDH for additional support, where we were going to work with other counties on overdose, as well as the MEDA grant as well, which that grant, that's Drug-Free Communities grant, which Sherburne also has. I think when we talked about it, we talked about that as well, is the majority of the funding for that position.
Thank you. for
Sorry,
clarifying
I
that.
can't remember.
It was, honestly, it was delayed, so
Yeah.
you are fine.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been, gosh, going on for 2 years maybe, about, going after this grant
Yep,
and
waiting for it to be
getting all
released
the
and-
partners in place, and it's been kind of a long process. And we had the labor management meeting with our highway and parks and surveyor. And of course, there's no fair this year, so we didn't have to cross that part off the list, that sadly. And of course, they've been very, very busy with their road construction, their crack repair and bridge work and culvert cleaning. It's the most road construction ever for this year, so that's good that they're able to get out and do that work despite what's going on in the world. So a lot of good discussion. It was kind of a short meeting. It seems like the Zoom and WebEx and Skype meetings are shorter than some of the other ones. And we had also the Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services meeting, and a lot of the discussion really was about the COVID response and for the different counties, and also what we're doing at the preparedness plan for the different sites. And Wright County in April had 8.3% unemployment, so it was quite high. A lot of discussion about that, and Commissioner Delight, you were also at the AMC meeting on the 8th. I don't know if you want to give any updates about that. A lot of the updates were about COVID and how the different counties have responded, and if they've, they're looking at long-term solutions and safety measures, how it's going to impact budget. And I think that, I also had a safe harbor meeting, and we're still working on protocols. We worked on the healthcare protocols. We discussed those last Friday. But otherwise, strategic planning with a few departments for the week of the 2nd, and I don't know. It seems like I've been on a lot of Zoom and WebEx meetings. That's about it. Delighted.
Since Charlie's got my phone all tied up, I can't tell you exactly what I did anymore because I have to look at my calendar.
Yeah.
But yeah, the meeting went pretty well on Zooming with all the other districts, or all the other counties in our district, and yeah, we're all kind of feeling in the same boat and struggling, and it sounds like they're all kind of doing what we're doing with appointments and doing the best job that they can and trying to maintain the safe distancing and all that sort of stuff.
And some just don't have the technology that Wright County is blessed with.
I can
So I mean,
imagine.
we're able to have an immediate response, and some aren't opening public counters yet, so.
Yeah.
Yes, and Madam Chair, on that comment, the decision we made a year ago, July, is what saved our bacon. You know, and it was a tough one. We had a lot of discussion, a lot of points, whether we should do it or not. We ended up going with it, and it's helped a lot. I mean, when you look back, sometimes you got to make decisions before things happen, and to be prepared for it. By making them, it saved us. If not making that decision, we'd have been in a world of hurt like some counties were by not making decisions.
Yep, we have
I
good people.
Yeah, I will admit though, the meal wasn't as good this year.
No.
At the district meeting.
No rolls, no coffee, no lunch.
Kind of sucked, yeah.
It's like all my Rotary meetings now, no lunch.
And the Wellness Committee is meeting this afternoon. They'll be discussing their budget for coming up. And they also have provided, I believe, to all of the employees an opportunity to get a mask with the Wright County logo on it.
Yeah, the Right Way, the wellness logo on it. Yep.
Wellness logo.
Okay.
So, I believe
They're up in
have it.
admin. Yep.
So,
Not sure.
they've been separated by departments, and so that each can grab where they needed to. So.
Good. Administrator Kelly. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Burrell.
Oh, and then, Madam Chair, I say I'm kind of handicapped here. Delight has my phone tied up here, but.
Touche, Charlie.
Full water met on Monday.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm going to hang up, Charlie, so I can look at my calendar and make sure I don't forget something.
Anyway, Saltwater met on Monday, and they're dealing with some of the same issues we are with the COVID. You know, them trying to keep just limited people coming in and staggering that, and working from home. And of course, they have quite a few people out in the field, so that works out good for them. But they do have a lot of projects going on right now, and the weather is cooperating, so we're getting a lot of erosion projects done and in the works. And then on Wednesday, Emergency Services Board met, and the main thing coming out of that is, for budgeting purpose, and Lee, you can plug that in, just it's going to be basically remaining flat. So I think you can count on that for budget. And that is about all I have.
Okay. Administrator Kelly.
Had some good interaction with Jolene Foss, the new director of the Economic Development Partnership. She's thinking of being at a future board meeting, if nothing else, just to get an introduction. She indicated to me they'd received some grant applications for the COVID funds, and the group was looking through those. So there's more to come on that. So I'm trying to dig out after being out for a while and seeing the greater parts of Koochiching and Itasca County. So.
Okay.
I'm glad you had a nice vacation. And
appreciate it. Good to get away for a bit.
Okay. Well, if there is nothing else that needs to come before the board, we are adjourned at 10:20.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.